Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're breaking down a really powerful story about perspective, about hardship, and about this idea that sometimes our greatest challenges are actually hiding a purpose that we just can't see yet. So, let's start with this powerful idea, because really, it's at the very heart of the story we're exploring today. It points to this huge shift in how you see the world. And we're about to find out exactly how someone came to this incredible realization.
Okay, so to understand that quote, we've got to meet a young farmer named David. And when his story starts, believe me, he feels anything but blessed. Actually, yeah, the complete opposite.
So, David's problem? It was simple, and it was stark. The land he inherited, it was just full of rocks. I mean, totally covered. While all his neighbors had this great, rich soil, his farm was seen as basically useless. You can imagine how tough that made his life as a farmer. And this question, he asked it all the time. He'd look up to the sky, just full of anger and frustration, feeling totally singled out. Why me? Why am I the only one struggling like this while everyone else seems to have it so easy? He was absolutely convinced his land was a curse. But, David's personal struggle, it was about to be overshadowed by something way bigger. A crisis was on the horizon, and it wasn't just going to affect him. It was going to affect the entire village. It all started so simply and so terrifyingly. The rain, it just stopped. No rain at all. A terrible drought settled over the whole region, and pretty soon what started as a little bit of worry among the farmers, well, that turned into real, genuine fear. And the effects were just catastrophic. It was like a domino effect of devastation. First, the soil started cracking open from the heat. Then the crops just withered and died. And finally, even the wells, their absolute last hope for water, they started drying up. Their entire livelihood was just disappearing right before their eyes. But then, just when it seemed like all hope was lost, when the village was pretty much facing ruin, David noticed something strange. On his land, on his useless, rocky, cursed land, something was happening that, it just didn't make any sense. And this is the turning point. This is where everything changes. The one thing that David had hated for years, the source of all his frustration, it was about to reveal its true purpose. So he discovered that the rocks, his supposed curse, were actually doing something incredible. They were like this perfect, natural system for keeping moisture locked in the ground. They protected the soil from the burning sun. They shielded the roots from the intense heat. They were basically preventing all the water from just evaporating away. They were keeping his farm alive. And this is what that led to. It's just incredible. While every other farm in the village turned to desert, David's land, and only David's land, produced a harvest. Just think about that. One successful crop in the entire village, and it belonged to him. Can you just picture him standing there, looking at his green, thriving field, while everything around him is just barren dust? He must have realized in that moment just how wrong he had been for all those years. I spent years hating these rocks, he thought. I really thought I was cursed. And then it hit him. He understood that what felt like a punishment, it was actually a form of preparation. It was getting him ready for a future he couldn't see. He knew the drought was coming, even if David didn't. So, what's the big takeaway here? What did David and his whole village learn from this incredible experience?
Well, a village elder put it perfectly. The big plan, you see, isn't always about giving us what we want. It's about giving us exactly what we need to handle what's coming our way.
David's whole mindset just flipped completely. Think about it. Before, he hated the rocks. After, he understood their value. Before, he cursed his problems. After, he saw them as his protection. He went from feeling totally abandoned to feeling prepared. Okay, so let's bring this home. How does this story help us right now? How do we apply this to our own lives, to our own rocky land? Because maybe you're looking at your own life right now and all you can see are rocks, the struggles, the things that make life hard. This story asks us to consider that maybe they aren't just random problems. The story suggests that maybe your rocks are there for a reason. Maybe they're there to prepare you for a drought that you don't even know is coming, or to protect you from something you can't see yet. Maybe they're just making you stronger for future battles. or teaching you the patience you'll need for blessings that are still on the way. So the ultimate message is this: don't curse what you've been given. And maybe even more importantly, don't compare your land to someone else's. The whole point is to trust that your journey, with all its unique challenges, has a purpose, even when it's hard and it makes absolutely no sense right now. And that leaves us with a really powerful question to think about, right? Is it possible that your biggest problem right now is actually your biggest blessing in disguise? What if that thing you're fighting against is actually the very thing that's preparing and protecting you for what's next?